This is ACOFAE. Laura Marie and Jessica Marie proudly present A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, a podcast. Fair warning, everything the hosts say is explicit, full of spoilers and adult content and shall not be used against them. They have opinions. Let's try not to drag anyone for expressing themselves and just have fun for an hour. We all deserve it.
This episode contains spoilers from the From Blood and Ash series and A Shadow in the Ember. There are also mentions of the Dark Artifices, the Demon Tide, and Legendborn. For full list, please see show notes. There's also a conversation mentioning suicide.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, your weekly deep dive into the YA literature and fandoms that we love. I'm Laura Marie.
And I'm Jessica Marie.
And today we are discussing A Light in the Flame by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is book 2 in the Flesh and Fire, we'll call it, installment. And Jessica Marie, start us off.
I think it's important for us to preface this episode that we received some DMs asking when we'd be covering this, because if you've been following the podcast or even if you're new, we have covered the previous books from kind of the series. We've done From Blood and Ash, A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, The War of Two Queens, The Crown of Guild and Bones. We'll flip those because that's not the exact order, and A Shadow in the Ember. So we hadn't exactly gotten around to reading A Light in the Flame, but just based on some of the DMs, we were like, you know what, thank you for listening. Thank you for that feedback. And we wanted to go ahead and do this episode. However, that being said, we didn't have time to reread any of the previous books. So we kind of went into this remembering there is Nyktos, we have Sera, there is Nektas. Oh, you can't forget lasagna, and that's kind of where we left off. And it's a prequel, and that Nyktos is Poppy's grandpa. So
I think there's a lot of ways that we could start off this episode. I will say I have read this now 2.5 times, as is my standard. And when Jessica Marie and I were about to start recording, I had to look her in the face and ask her how this book ended. I know that I am not a smart man, but you would think that I could have retained the ending, having just finished it and restarted it. But this is consistent for me because I have this problem with a few authors, like Leigh Bardugo's stuff being one of them. When I am in it, I'm in it. Like, I'm full in it. I'm 100%, like, plots are clicking. I'm making the connections, all good. Step out of it, and I'm gone. Jess, did you have that experience?
I do. I did with this one. I feel like I have that a lot of times with books. But this one, I definitely felt it. And I joked with you earlier in the week before I really was like making a dent in the book. I said, and I know I referenced this a lot on the podcast, the moment in Old School where Will Ferrell just word vomits and then he blacks out and he comes back. He goes, wait a minute, what just happened? I feel like that with this book. And that's not to say I don't enjoy the book. I told you, when we're in it, you're like, yes, you were emoting, you are reacting. There's a scene that we'll get to, which is a trope that we're not exactly a favor of, where I go, I know that there's something bigger and I know that there's something else at play, but in that moment, my ears were red. I was frustrated. You knew where some of the characters were with their feelings. So I feel like that happens a lot here because I just don't remember anything. And maybe I'm just...
Okay, so if we're both like really in it when we're reading it, then having a character rundown should not be difficult, right? Like, we should know who these people are.
You would think. So we have some of our mains, of course. We have Sera, who also, reminder, she has the soul of Satoria in her, who is the girl that Colas was obsessed with. And she was like, you're psycho, I'm going to unalive myself, and jumped off a cliff. And so now that girl's soul is in Sera. You have Nyktos and Ash, and we'll probably use that interchangeably in this episode too, because Sera uses it interchangeably in the book. There's Nektas, who is like Draken numero uno. And then there's like baby Drakens. We have, baby Reaver. We have Jadis. You, of course, have Colas, who stole the embers of life from Nyktos' dad. So he's currently the primal of life when it really should be Nyktos, who is currently the primal of death. There's other primals that we meet, Veses, Attis, Attes, Dices. Then we have Ezra, who is Sera's sister, Bella. She was like part of, it's like Nyktos' equivalent of his inner circle of sorts, like his trusted advisors. And Sera, I was going to say Poppy, helps her ascend because she was dead. And she brought her back. And then you have some other people who are his like trusted like inner circle of sorts. You have Ector, Eos, Rain, Scion, Rahar, Orphine. We meet another, I don't want to say, is he an oracle? Delphi?
Yeah, I would say he's an oracle.
And then we also have, who, I don't remember this from the first book, but the first encounter with the Belflor, who was Belflor, who was engaged to Sera's brother, who's now dead. And she is kind of like our first connection of like, she's trying to like meet different primals and gods and understand this world a little bit more.
Whew.
I know.
It's a lot. This is a hefty book. I did the audio, Jess, you did audio and the ebook. Stina puts in the work. Stina sells this, obviously.
She always does.
She took the notes about ether and she fixed it. Bless.
We love constructive criticism.
Yep. We love constructive criticism, and she took it really good. In the beginning, you can tell she was like, and then, she really...
Okay. I didn't know if it was because I switched speeds, because I'm like, I don't think it did, because even with the first time we read the first book, no matter what the speed was, it was still ether, and now it wasn't.
Yeah.
So, yay.
Yep. So that was a huge improvement. It made the whole thing much more enjoyable. Yes. Correct me if I'm wrong, please do. This book picks up directly at the end of the last book, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, she's good about that. JLA is really good about like just picking up where we left off, so you don't feel like, wait, what did I miss? Like, especially if you're somebody who's just started reading, like it's a great way to be like, okay, but it also blends if you are reading it that way. So
it's very true. So if we start off in chapter 1, we start off, you are the primal of life, and we have from there on, from like sentence 1 on, plot, and the entire plot of the whole book is right here in this first chapter. Holland, our beloved Holland, and Penelope start talking, and they're talking about everything more or less, and the Craven and all of this stuff that I'm still not 100% clear on. Still not 100% clear on that. But Holland just lays it all out. He's like, a primal of life and death isn't really supposed to exist, but like it would be like ultimate power if that were to like maybe happen. Throwing it out there. It's like, oh. And then like later on, everyone's like, what does Colas want? And like, no one's like, oh, he wants the thing that makes him like ultimate power. Everyone's like, well, he wants Sotoria's soul to make revenants. And it's like, no, he wants to fucking murder all of the primals.
He does. He was like, and we get like, evil villain monologue speech at the end of this book. And I love that Sera keeps her sass, or he's trying to give his monologue, and she's like, oh, okay, so you want to do this. And he's a clever girl. And she goes, I'm not a girl, 1, and 2, I'm not clever. You literally had just said it. You keep drilling this. I kind of love her.
It's very. But I am bringing this up right away. Holland just like kind of revealing the whole like plot here, because Colas knew everything the entire time. Colas has been in on it since Sera was born. And that puts this book in such a different light that I'm having a hard time with it.
I just, Sally Field in Mrs. Doubtfire, where she goes, the whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah, the whole time. Oh, I was going to ask something, but maybe we'll wait for that at the end of the book, at the end of our discussion. But Colas knows the whole time. And so all they're running around at the end of this book and 700 pages later, or whatever the word count is, feels for naught. No?
Yeah, all of it is for nothing, which is kind of like, I really feel for Sera at the end of this because she really feels, she goes up and down. Like her mental health goes like up and down throughout this whole book. But she feels like, I have a purpose. I don't have a purpose. I'm aimless. I am not. I'm going to be this. And then at the end with Colas and all of this, when she finds everything out and it really does have no purpose because everything that has happened, everybody that has died means nothing because Colas knew the whole time. So the protecting was for nothing. The Oracle, all of it, it's very frustrating.
You feel, and I think you could also tell the type of person that she is because it isn't in a selfish way. She's like, oh my gosh, everything this person had to go through, everything that Nyktos had to go through, everything that Nektas, like every single person that has been in play, not just in this book, but leading up to it, especially because we know that it was this agreement that her biological father made before he died. She was like, this feels like it was all for nothing just because this guy is all about like, I want phenomenal cosmic power, goes to kill her. And this goes into my, like, this is where I feel like Sera and where I would have Ash yelling at me. He's like, you have no sense of self-preservation. You just want to run right into it, sacrifice yourself. And she's like, and she has that same, it's just, how, Emma Carstairs was where she was with the Blackthorns and she was just like, it's just me. Like, I'm just one person. It's so much better that it's like, that's where Sera's mentality is. She's like, better me than all of these other people. And so even in those last moments, I was thinking, why doesn't she do it to herself? Because then would he have power? I don't know. I have no self-preservation. And I said that about the Demon Tide too. I would have been like, you're going to kill me anyway. You're not going to get a damn information out of me.
Well, and that's why Nyktos struggles with Sera throughout the whole book. And he like screams at her multiple times. And Sera's just like, it is what it is. It is what it is until
whatever.
I have a problem with the modern language. I have an issue with it. That's all I'll say on it. Whatever. It's whatever. It is what it is.
Oh, is that what it is?
Moving on. Okay. Tell me some of this plot. Okay. There's so much that happens in chapter 1. There's so much that happens in this book. Let's get into this. Sera needs to ascend, right? Or the ascension will kill her before she's 21. That's in like 5 months. Is that correct?
And she needs to be ascended by the person who loves her. Yes. Or she has to make the person, love needs to be involved.
Yeah.
So there we go. So essentially what we're hoping, initially is, all right, well, that's not going to be hard. Ash is totally going to fall in love with her. Plot twist number, not even a plot twist, but like, ooh, caveat. He's like, yeah, I like physically can't love. I've had that part of my heart and soul and mind physically removed from me. It's called the cardia. Because like love is a weakness and I am a ruler. I was completely content with being, solo for the rest of my life or like have a consort or you can care about people. That doesn't mean you can't care and you can't have a soul, but like I just won't have love because I don't want to have a weakness and I don't want to put that pressure on somebody else for them to be like, oh, they can basically have like a hit out on for them knowing that there could be like, oh, well, if that's who she loves, like that, they become a target for other people too.
Right. And that is something that, Jess, I know you and I kind of really respect about Nyktos too, is Nyktos had the forethought, like the foresight to be like, hey, love like really fucked up my uncle. We're in this whole mess because of that. My dad also like wasted away when he like lost my mom. That sucked. So let me just take away this obstacle so that I can be like a good and just ruler, and respect.
Yeah, and he's had two very different examples in his life also with it. Like, he's seen his dad love so hard, and then like he saw his uncle go fucking crazy and obsessed over Satoria, and he can tell like he had like enough self-awareness to be like, see, that's the thing. I think I'll be more like my uncle because I fucking rage. And like, again, another thing of respect, but it's not like, oh, you don't know. No, he does. That's the thing. You can't say like, oh, well, exposure or lack thereof. No, he's had everything and everything in between with the people that he's known. And he's like, we're gonna, and he even says that doesn't mean she goes, but you're so caring in some of their dialogues. And he goes, just because I can't love, that doesn't mean I don't know how to care. I don't know how to have respect. Because he does. He cares about his people, his kingdom, the people, like everybody that he works with, or else he wouldn't have done this.
Yes. Or else he wouldn't have done this. And they do go into, I say they, I mean, like, Nyktos, Sera, and like JLA by extension goes into like a lot of discussions about how like caring and loving are like very different, but like hate is still in there, because even though you can hate something, it doesn't mean you love something. But Sarah's like, and everyone else is like, and it's very weird. But there is a lot of talking about that. There is a lot of talking in general. I know that is something that is consistent with book one that is carrying over here. Everybody's talking to everybody all the time about everything except like a couple key fucking things. And that is something that is rare and that I appreciate. But also it was like, okay. Like, what do I do? Like, it's like, I don't have any more hands to hold this information that you're giving me. I need it to connect to other things. And I'm that is obviously on me for not having enough time to do a reread. But there's just so much, because there's talks about Craven, there's talks about the Revenants, the collapse of the realms, all of this stuff. Holland with his like little prophecy things about intervening, but like not so much. Like, she will die without the love that she needs. That great quote. That whole thing. So after there's just more of that. But after, I almost said Poppy. Damn it. After Sera, like dies essentially, right? That's what we're talking about here. The mortal world will have like 1 to 3 years left before collapse. Is that?
If that, because they were already going through the rot, and everybody, and I don't know if this is from the first book or if it was really just like reminded to us in the second book, that her family made her feel like the rot is happening because of her. She is the reason for all bad things in the mortal world. And Nyktos finds out a lot of this stuff, that how toxic her family has been and treated her, and is getting some more insight to be like, why is Poppy, now I did it.
I know,
why
damn.
is Sera the way she is? Why is she so reckless in her, and I say reckless, I guess like self-sacrificing in everything. Why is she just constantly throwing caution to the wind? And have no regard for herself. And every time she shares little things, he goes, like, even when from the first book where she's waiting for him at the temple, and then he was like, nope, and he leaves, and that's blamed on her too, and he's finding out about that, and he even says, he goes, but that doesn't make any sense. I turned to you, like I said, I don't want this. She goes, that doesn't matter. This is still the life that, it didn't matter.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter. But the little gems that are dropped in here, because as Sera is getting charmed, she's getting charmed by Victor, and we get the whole like first Victor explanation thing, and she's getting it, and she says it's like a shackle, on her face. But we get these little kind of like hints about where the story is going. We get like fate is ever changing. Love is very powerful. The were afraid when the primals began to love. You are his weakness. It's almost like a riddle, but like one that I could figure out. I was like, oh, haha.
Well, and she says that too. And she was like, oh, I'm so stupid. I'm not Nyktos's weakness. I'm Kolis's. Like I have to get him to fall in love with me.
Cause all of it. Ha 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 ha. It's all. I like this charm. I like it. I like it. I like that it sinks into her skin. I like that it will protect her from being taken against her will, and that the only way that it won't is if she like freely goes. I like this little world building that is here. Very fun. The embers. Jess, you and I were talking earlier about how basically the like main plot of this is that there are embers 1, 2 in Sera, and the goal is to get them out of Sera while keeping her alive. And that's like the overarching plot of this book. Interesting. Sera, as we mentioned, also is struggling with her mental health, and it goes up and down. She is told by people that she is like an empty vessel, right, for the embers, that she is a placeholder for the embers, that they're not hers, that she's borrowing them, and that she really shouldn't like use them because they don't belong to her. How do we feel about that?
Well, you already feel bad for her because you get told something so many times, you start to believe it, and that's clearly where she is. And I know people will be like, oh, you just have to have like a strong mental sense of self. Okay, that's great. But that could only also go so far. And that's where she's like, wait, and she says it a lot in the book where they're like, no, he cares about you, or this person cares about you. They're like, it's because I am harnessing something that is a need, y'all, because I do. But at the same time, she's, now that I'm talking this out, if they wanted the embers, they would just take it out of her life be damned. But like, that's something that she has to process, that even if it was the embers, like they're still valuing her as a person, because they're like, we're trying to figure it out. Because even at the end of the book, she even tells Ash, you knew this, you knew that these were the only 3 options. And he's like, yeah, well, I was hoping there was like a 4th.
Like, yeah, but actually I also knew the whole time and didn't tell you, and was just trying to get it better, trying to get better. I like, there are a few things here that I really, really, really do like, is that right away though, Sera says that she wants more, right? Very specifically, she's like, oh, the embers are important. Like, I'm not important, but like, I want to be seen. I want to be heard. I want to be like a part of this. This is where she really starts to kind of like dig her heels in a little bit and be like, no. I am a person. I have thoughts. I have feelings. I want things. I want this relationship with Nyktos, because the like subplot of this is her falling head over heels in love with Nyktos, right? I mean them falling together, but he can't. So it's,
I do like the subplot. I love a romance. I liked the sweet stuff. But the internal thoughts that she had, like you said, was like, oh, he's seeing me. Like he's saying that I'm this and I'm powerful. And she sticks up for herself, not even in regards to like him falling for her, but I have been quiet for so long, I will not be a silent participant no longer. And she wants to be involved. And that was one of the things they had in their little fake training montage banter amongst she goes, you know what? These are my criterias. I want to go to this meeting. I want to be involved here. I want to be included. And when people do start including her in these group conversations, she's realizing that her voice is valued and she has a say and she is part of the bigger conversation. So she wants that for herself, whether, and it goes back and forth, whether it's a life with Nyktos or a life on her own, or if she wants freedom. She's choosing to live instead of just being alive.
That's very well said. Very well said. Nyktos is also kind of like forcing her to live because he's like, hey, we're going to have a coronation. We're going to have a coronation because that's going to provide extra safety to you. And she's like, but like, whatever. I don't really like need that. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But then she's also like, hey, like your people are kind of mean to me. Like they used to be friendly, but like all your people are like kind of mean. And he's like, who said that to you?
Which is great. I love Nyktos. I love that he was like, who said? She's like, nobody said it to me. Nobody's actually going to say it to me. But like self-awareness, people don't need to say anything for me to know what's going on. And obviously, a lot of this comes from trust issues because from the first book, they were like, we liked you. And then we found out you're trying to kill our guy. So pardon our reluctantness. And then even when she's like, you know what, fuck it all. I'm gonna run away and try to give I'm gonna try to kill Kholas on myself. I'm gonna try to do this. I'm gonna try. And he goes, now you got to be watched 24/7. And she's like, why do I have to be watched 24/7? I promise I won't leave. And he's like, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me we're not playing with this. So then when he makes that command to the world, like she was gonna sacrifice herself, y'all better respect her. She goes, you didn't do that for me. You did that for you. So now nobody's gonna let me leave. And he goes, ha 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 ha.
That happens like a little bit after this attack that happens. First of all, Sera's afraid of the bathtub. It's a very Nesta situation. I understand. I get it. Don't come for me.
Her specific bathtub because she feels safe when it's not hers.
Yes. I would have felt gross way sooner than she admitted feeling gross. That is only me. This attack, though, she's there with Orphine, right? The attack, it's like lightning, bam, bam, bam. The this is the untombed god attack. Now, full circle, this attack was sent by Veses, is that right?
Yes,
sent by Veses because she felt a weird life thing because she has so much of like Nyktos' blood in her and she's like, hey, what's going on? So she sent her people to do this attack. And
well, that wasn't the only reason. Veses was already being like a jealous bitch. Mm-hmm. And then she was like, please, Nyktos, like, because he said, like, I'm going to take a consort. This is my girl. And she's like, I don't feel right about her. But like, please don't do it. I really don't think you should do it. So it was kind of like, but then she started also feeling the rumbles of the embers
and kind of building off what you're saying about this jealous woman. She sends a god to Poppy, and it's clear
Sera.
Like, oh, sorry, fuck.
If we ever, okay, we'll say here. If we say Poppy, we
mean
probably mean Sera.
Shit, damn it. Okay. So Sera is, she's fighting all these untombed gods, whatever. She's kicking ass, taking names as she does. She's a warrior. She is amazing. The clean, I say clean because he wasn't like buried, God is like talking to her and she's like, hey, you weren't buried. And he sees an untombed God coming up from behind her and like doesn't warn Sera. And that's why Sera is like, these guys were not trying to like save my life or take me or anything. They were trying to straight up kill me. So that puts it kind of in perspective because that right away tells people, well, that's not this person. That's not this person. That's not this person. Who is it? And it just happens to be like a jealous bitch. Of course, I hate that. I hate this whole subplot.
Oh, we talked about that before the episode too. It's like one of the tropes that, not only is like the perceived cheating trope, but also the pitting women against each other. And it's the jealous girl. And then you're getting cat and the cattiness. Because that being said, it's not like every female relationship in this book is a catty relationship. Sera has a great female camaraderie in this book with everyone except Veses.
Yes, and she just so happens to be the closest, like, quote, quote, romantic partner to Nyktos, so it turns into a weird, jealous, one-sided love triangle. So during this attack, Sera is bitten a few times and, through lots of things, she has very sexy blood injury time, and she also is sitting with these weird things that the Untuned God says, your blood smells like life, smells like blood and ash. They said the thing.
We gotta say the thing.
Gotta say a thing. Sera, turgid.
I'll tell you what.
If you have been a long-time listener, you know our relationship with the word turgid.
Here's my favorite thing about the word turgid. You came across this word summer 2020, and you were like, and this is before I had gotten into fantasy, and we hadn't started the podcast yet, and you had very specifically texted me, have you ever heard the word turgid? I was like, I've never heard this word in my entire life. Of course, I go to look it up. I see what the word is being used for in a description, and you had said, I think you'll like this book, but ever since, and then 2021, I finally got into JLA, and From Blood and Ash, that word is everywhere. And I feel like her books would be missing if the word turgid wasn't in there anymore. But it's made an appearance in this book, and in different body parts this time.
We have turgid used in a lot of different body parts. I know one of your very lovely, most favorite ways to describe insertion was used here. Pierce me.
I think we were going to say impale, and I go, no, impale was not used, but it was pierced. Pierced was used, which is along the same veil.
Yeah. Yeah.
That did not sound fun either.
No, didn't sound fun. So we know that Sera's blood smells like a summer storm. We know that Sera drinking Nyktos' blood will heal her. We know this. We know that Nyktos' blood will make Sera horny. She knows this. He knows this. We know this. We get a very masturbation scene. Very fun, I guess.
That's not related to the blood taking. This is separate from the blood taking.
Yes. And and Sera's very fun. She's like, I can't, if I don't leave here or whatever, I will drown. And Sera's like, then drown with me. It's all very good.
That boy, he is trying his damnedest. And the boy's like, I really can't. And she's like, but don't you want to? And he's like, fine. I'll fold.
Yes, fold. Immediately fold. So funny. He
has to do at least no once. He has to be like, I don't think it's a good idea. Because he does it again later in the book. He's like, you're going to hate yourself later. And she's like, but will I?
Will I? Let's find out. We won't know until we try.
I love it so much. Because she really she's like, I'm going to use this to my advantage. And girl, get it.
Yeah. Really. And we're still very much in the beginning of the book, but after this very sexy situation, this blood healing, whatever, it's whatever. They're holding hands afterwards. After they're they're holding hands. And Sera says, this is very peaceful. This is my peace, which is a reoccurring thing that is said between the two of them throughout the rest of the book. It is what it is. We cut the pacing kind of really throws me off here because we go from straight up hardcore fucking to and I was looking out the window in the war room. It's what? Because that's what this is here. She's like, I was in the war room and it gave me bad vibes. It needs rugs or some shit. I don't remember what she said it needed, but she wants to redecorate.
And then they're before we do more stuff, can we go back to the Mortal Lands and see my sister? Because that'd be cool, and I want to give her a heads up.
Yeah, for real.
What?
Yeah, it's okay. We also, but in this war room, though, she's Sera's I pose a threat. I have a purpose. I'm important. I know what I need to do. I need to go and fulfill my destiny to seduce Colas and kill him. I need to go to Delos. So what does she do? She pulls a Poppy. I said it right that time. And she climbs down the walls of the fucking palace. Love that for her, because she has to go kill Colas. Then I remember, Jess, you said very specifically, chapter 6, Sera escapes and stabs Shades. There's so much going on that you really do just kind of like have to like go that kind of thing. Kind of the main thing there is that Sera is able to restore life to the Shades, and everyone's like, that's impossible. But, you know, we're finding out that nothing is impossible. We also have our second,
She didn't intentionally go to restore life for the Shades. It was just the interaction because they cut her. There was blood sharing, and she was like, what the fuck is going on? Because that's when Nyktos finds her, and he's like, are you really gonna, like, she even tries to run away from him, and he's like, are you fucking kidding? Like, you just, I literally can, like, poof in front of you.
Yeah, like, for real, like, fuck off, right? We also get the hawk. This is like the silver hawk that's coming.
Silver hawk.
Yep, might come in, doing all the things. Very cool. Nektas also shows up. This is where Sera like shoots Nektas with her Nyktos, damn it, Ash with her ether, right? Isn't that this moment?
Yes. Yeah, because she's no, because this isn't when she's super mad yet. That's a little bit later.
This is when she's sad. This is when she's like sad and not knowing. She's like, let me fulfill my purpose. And then Nektas lands and he's like, I'm here to intervene if he attacks you.
Because then Nektas is shielding her with his wing. And that's when Ash is like, he's not protecting me from you. He's protecting you from me. And it's that moment. And then there's like a couple times throughout the book where he realizes, or Nektas realizes that if Ash poses a threat to Sera, then he'll like immediately calm down. Because I do like the check-ins with everybody. Be like, you level? You good? I do like that.
Yeah, it is. It is really nice, especially because there's a lot of other series where like the communication doesn't happen. So it is very nice. I mean, she's hurt again. We have another sexual healing. I mean, you know, it is what it is. They don't really talk about themselves during that. So it is.
Which is nice because sometimes I feel like every author is different. But when you have the plot written into the like sweet, sexy time scenes, you're like, wait, so what should I be focusing on? Or can I just like appreciate this for like their relationship for what it is?
And the relationship is sweet. I do like their relationship. It is just like, it's very physical. He's a very horny virgin. I understand. I get it. We're up to another attack. This is like Dorkin. This is right. This is Hanan's man. This is say it for me. Cimmerians. There you go. The Cimmerian attacks. All of this very important attack.
I feel like I'm having a perfect example. Who the Cimmerians are working with.
These are Hanans, and they are there because of the pulse of life. They're looking for Bella, more or less, right?
Oh, yes. They're like, oh, we know she's here. She's ascended. Like, just give her up and we'll be fine. And Nyktos and everybody's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's like kind of situation. I'm just gonna say battle. They're all very good. Sera's a badass. Like everything that she does is good when she's fighting.
Oh, this is like this. I remember now. I'm sorry. I did remember before, but I'm fully in it now because I made the note. This is like the scene on a wall in A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, where they're kind of like in Spessa's end, and Cass is like, I told you not to be up here, Poppy. And she's like, well, I'm up here. And he's like, okay, like my girl's a badass. And that's what this is like too, because she goes to climb the wall because of the Cimmerians. She wants to help, she being Sera in this book. And is it Scion who's like, how good are you with an arrow? And then she like,
this good.
Puts an arrow in between somebody's eye, like right through their head. And she's like, that good. And he goes, all right, just don't, if I say run, if you need to hide, you stay hidden because Ash is going to have my ass if you are hurt. And she did. She was nailing them motherfuckers left and right with her arrows.
Yeah, she's a badass. She's always a badass. Really fantastic stuff. Okay. I have again masturbation, voyeurism. This is. Do you want to talk about it? Because like we can say like the embers are getting stronger. These embers are protecting Sera. She's having a hard time separating herself from the embers. All of this stuff. This is also where it is over. Sera learns that Nyktos really sacrificed something for Sera, and she does not find out what that is until later.
Right. I mean, the thing with this scene is me, and this is just coming from me personally, and Laura, I think you too. Everybody get your own. She wants to get herself off. Go for it. She was already like, ooh, are my windows open? Is somebody watching me? Like, I'm already thinking that she's already kind of like somebody who people are very cautious around. So I'm thinking somebody's broken into her room. Then you find out that it's just Nyktos in his shadow form. So it's just him lurking in the corner. And my problem with it is that it was without consent initially. And then when she was like, oh, wait, like, I'm going to keep doing my thing, realizes, she's like, wait, I really do see, like, there's a shadowy thing. And then she realizes that it's Nyktos because she smells citrus. She's like, okay, well, he can join, or like, I'll keep going, whatever. But he didn't at first. He didn't have the permission at first. And that was an issue that I had personally. Again, this is just me. So then when they don't even bring it up in the next day, she was like, what the fuck? And then I love it because this is just the person I am. She threw it back in his face. Oh, you didn't have a problem when you didn't, you were lurking. And she's saying it in front of everybody. And they're like, oh, what the fuck is going on? Like, nobody knows what's going on between the two of you. I'm like, how do you know? You could look at them and know what's going on between the two of them.
Or smell, right? Like, Nektas, like, kind of understands what's going on. He's given Nyktos a little shit every time he can. He's like, Very fun.
I receive, like, I don't know if it's on paper, or let me say this. I don't remember if it's on paper the way, like, their scents smell the way it does in other fantasy universes. For all we know, it's just, like, they smell each other and their scents are mingling, but like everybody else is just like, why are they so fucking awkward? Or like she gets to touch him, but like, what is going on? Because they are constantly at a banter with each other. But such are the couples in these universes.
Yeah, genetics be geneticking very strong here. I mean,
it's so wild though, because then when you think of like the way it's written, you would think that one of them is related to Poppy and the other one's related to Cass. But then you're like, no, nobody's related to Cass because otherwise Poppy and Cass would be related.
Yeah, it is hard for me to separate Nyktos and Cass.
Yeah,
it is very difficult for me. But That's not why we're here. That's not why we're here. We are here because we have to get these goddamn embers out of Sera. And Nyktos has a plan. That plan is like search down the Oracle, search down Delphi, and ask him questions. Very fun. Good stuff. Me personally, on one hand, very much appreciate the housekeeping, world building, domestic bliss that JLA is really hammering home with Reaver and Jadis and Nyktos, and the family dynamic, and like the hair, the mother, the feeding, the fork, the clothes, how scared Sera was to watch Jadis, and how Nyktos is a good all of that. I, on one hand, very much appreciate that. On the other hand, like, fuck, if you cut all that shit out, we would have a much slimmer book that would run a little bit better. But
do you think she's doing it to just establish how different, I say different in air quotes, establish something different aside from the from Blood and Ash series, to be like, look how different it is. These are baby dragons, and these are like, they're interacting with kids more and trying to do that. Like, look how different these two are.
I don't know. I feel like she's probably doing it to show like what Sera could have and what Sera is going to have.
Well, and that's what's said with Sera's like, doing all of this. Like, I want to live and I want this with Ash.
Yeah. So I think it's just that. It's just I guess my point is the repetition of these domestic bliss scenes kind of get like, okay, I understand that you tried to feed her with a fork again and it didn't work, but like, what is actually going on? You know, because if you look at it, this book doesn't take, I'm saying take very long. It's set in like weeks, like a couple, like weeks. It's not like a long time period unless I'm just like way off base.
It's very much okay. And tomorrow we'll do this. And the next day we'll do that. And like, yeah, because I think like she did an overnight with Nektas to go to find out that they have to find Delphi and Erewhon. I want to say Erewhon. And okay, so you know what? And then Poppy, you know, says like, well, I want to do this tomorrow. And then what is it? Oh, Colas has beckoned and summoned us. We need to respond. Well, what happened how long did you wait the last time you didn't respond? And you said less than 24 hours. And we're like, well, I guess we got to go now. So nothing bad happens. Like everything is really quick. You're right.
Yeah, it is. It's quick. It's just, I don't know, something that didn't happen very quick, in my opinion, is that Sera came to the decision of, I mean, like, we could just fuck. Like, we don't have to, like, have feelings.
Pleasure for pleasure.
We can, yeah, like, pleasure for pleasure's sake. Like, we can totally just fuck. It won't be anything. It's fine.
And you even have Nyktos, like, girl, you sure that's a good idea?
It's like, really? Okay. But I also, like, he's a guy. He's like,
I know. But he doesn't want it because he likes her. But he's also like, he had that fight. He's like, you deserve somebody who can love you. Which, like, so sweet.
How did you feel about the introduction of Ates and the sexual lap meeting? She's sitting on Nyktos' lap.
Oh, the whole, like, I have to play a role, and I hope you're okay with it.
You're not going to like the person I'm going to have to pretend to be. Yeah.
Really? Because
okay.
I like how Sarah's like, twist my arm, okay.
Okay. Gosh. Yeah.
But you know what? I do like her when she calls him out on his shit too. And I say him as in Ash. She's like, okay, so we have this agreement. Granted, it didn't happen right away because they were in the middle of talking, and then like Atis comes, and then she's like, okay, we gotta define this a little bit more because like, can I flirt with other people? Can you flirt with other people? Like, what's yes, what's no? Like, if you don't want me to, and she was like, oh, if we're consort by name only, I need to get my needs met from other people.
And he's like,
no, you get your needs met by me, which again calls him out. She's like, oh, but he can go. But then she does the self-reflect. She's like, you know what? Maybe that's a me thing. Maybe I should have been more specific. Goes both ways, sir.
Yeah. Goes both ways. The message here, though, is only one of negativity. That is, Colas says, no, you cannot have your coronation. No, fuck you. You cannot have your coronation. Colas says, I will summon you whenever I fucking choose to. But you can't get your coronation because it hasn't happened in a long time, and I want to meet her, and I want to approve. Come to me.
Well, that's what he's letting everybody believe.
Yeah, he knows the whole time. He knows the whole time.
So if you do a reread, you reread it knowing, like, this is very different than ACOFAE, where you're like, oh my God, Reese knows the whole time. This is so wonderful. Now you're just like, he fucking knows. This is all for naught.
Yeah, this is all for naught. Everybody's trying so hard for nothing, and it's just annoying. But you know, there's a whole, like, Nyktos is, like, so pissed off about, like, Ates and, like, all of this. So he's like, distract me. And she, like, kisses him very deeply. You know, it's a whole thing.
I mean, like, you can't deny that physical touch is absolutely his love language. And I feel like she's in between that and, like, words of affirmation.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There's also a really good, I mean, there's a one bed trope here, and it happens immediately. He's like, no, you're going to fucking leave again. You're going to sleep within arm's reach. I'm tired. We're all sleeping in the same bed. And I do appreciate Sera. She's like, I am not used to like being touched like this. I'm not used to like this closeness. Again, this domesticity, interesting stuff.
But I love it also because the more she opens up to him, again, going back to the family thing, it makes sense to him and he completely respects it. And a new favorite trope I decided that I liked from this book is like male characters standing up to toxic family on behalf of the female main character. I love it. It's a huge thing. He's like, you're only, like, he says it to the mother. Now he's like giving her stepbrother hell in the afterlife. Like, I'm here for it because you can still tell she still needs to heal that inner child of hers because she's just like, it's not even worth the breath. I don't want to physically and mentally go down that path with her right now. He's like, that's fine. I'll do it for you. Love it.
Yeah, for real. It's good. It's all very good. Oh, I do want to mention that Ate says that Sera has an aura. So he's like, is she a godling? She has an aura. Knowing what we know, that Colas takes every chosen with an aura and does whatever he does.
But he's also been working with Colas this whole time. He fucking knew also. So even these little moments where he's acting like there's something about you, I don't know what it is. And at first it's like, oh, he was projecting his own ether to amplify your emotions and you didn't react. And she was also probably like, well, if you fucking told me, I would have been able to
fake it.
Act. Yeah, exactly. And she wasn't able to do that. And they're like, oh yeah, well, he knows. Exactly. I knew where I was going with that.
And I know he knows. Something that I didn't know is that Nyktos can take souls and, like, move people around in between courts. We have a little backstory between, like, Thanos and, like, why Sion left courts. All of this, like, plot stuff that I feel must have implications later on. It must, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't pay attention to it in this read, but I know that it'll come, like, when they were saying who all the primals were and what their primal power was, like Maya is like love and fertility. You have Fesses who, like, Kayla who does soul and like rebirths and reincarnation. I was like, okay, I need to keep reading. I cannot for the first time, I didn't hyperfixate on that. That's a tomorrow thing.
It's a tomorrow thing. Another tomorrow thing. We are up to the training montage where she makes all her bargains, right? Very fun stuff.
I feel like we're all over the place.
So we're in order. We're doing it. We are all good. So there are bargains to be had and hair to be cut, which will be referenced every single time she looks at Nyktos from now to the end of the book. The short hair on his cheekbone.
Where she just does like a little wisp and then he has like this one little hair that goes right on his cheekbone, like, yes, all the time.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was already there. Maybe it's just because of all the fan art that I've seen. But I was like, oh, that must be this fan art. But that fan art came before this book. So now I don't know.
Yeah. It's like, okay. What does she bargain for? She bargains, like, she wants to be consort.
She wants to be consort. She wants to be included. She wants to train.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are like three big things.
I think so. And after that, they are gross and dirty, and he takes her to his bathroom.
I love that you said gross and dirty, and my thing said, oh, you don't. I just processed something. You meant physically, like, ew, I'm covered in dirt. My note was, aw, sweet smut. But you didn't mean that gross and dirty.
No. I meant
dirt, like...
They needed to physically take a bath. That's what I meant. And then he takes her to his massive bathtub where they have sexy time.
Oh yeah, he had the bubble bath too, because that's when he found out that she was having her bathtub PTSD, and he was like, "Well, I'll fix you a bath." And he's like, "There's bubbles," and she's like, "So I Laura, you may or may not know this. I don't like baths. I think that
I hate baths. I think they're disgusting. You're sitting in your own dirt."
Thank you. So that, of course, is going through my mind. But then I'm like, okay, but this is like ye old times. There was no other choice. So the fact that they could even sit in a bath Must be nice. But I was just thinking about how murky that water was.
Yeah, just so gross. And they're like doing things in it. I'm like,
That being said, if you enjoy baths, like I'm just somebody, I'm like, I will full out take a full shower first before I enjoy a bath.
Absolutely.
That's how I do baths.
Absolutely. Exactly. If I'm going to take a bath, I'm going to take a full shower, be completely clean, and then like rinse my bathtub of whatever that is, and then fill it up again with bath water and then take it. Yeah. But that's clearly we should go to therapy. We are up to now going to see Ezra. We meet Ezra. This is basically, This is basically a conversation about how primals aren't good, right? They just are. They're like neutral.
Yeah, I almost, looking back on it, I don't understand the point of the visit. I think she was just basically saying like, hey, the rock's gonna happen. Yeah, like, hey, I really want to tell my sister X, Y, and Z, but the X, Y, and Z was like, what, the rot is for real. It wasn't because I didn't do this, that, the other thing. But like, y'all look out for you.
Yeah.
I'm out. That was what it was.
Yeah, essentially, she's like, okay, peace, nice to see you. But then she runs into her mom. And that is running into her mother, and the standing up, as you said, leads to the hand-dug pool sex in the bottom of the castle, and the comparison to the sirens, and the confession that Nyktos learned about the embers, and he watched Sera as a child slowly growing up in her lake because he was drawn to her. That is this confession. And this also leads to the sexy submitting. This is that sex scene.
Right. And that was like this pool, she goes, you have this whole thing. Like, why would you come to my lake if you have this whole thing? And why didn't you actually show me this earlier? Because I wouldn't be giving you hell to go to my shithole. And I do like that she was like, why didn't you say something? Why weren't you and she goes, because do you know how creepy it would have been? If a 300-plus-year-old dude came up to a kid in the woods. And she's like, you're right. He's like, what if it was reversed? And she's like, honestly, you know me. I probably would have been like, what's up?
And I'd do it again.
And he's like, you really are right. But like, I'm a dude. Like, I can't do that. So I do like that. I do like the sexy submission. I do like where she's like realizing, again, this is just part of her growth, where she's like, I'm okay with doing this because this is the first time that I feel safe and I trust him. Like, these conversations she's having, and they've probably had at some other points, because at this point they've been sharing a lot. They've been talking a lot. They've been saying like how each other feels like it's peaceful and they're at home and with each other. But nobody's realizing what the actual emotion is, because she's just dancing around in circles. Like, what does this feel like? What does love feel like? What does blah, blah, blah feel like? And everyone's like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah. And Nyktos can't.
Or like, how would you not know if you've never felt it?
Exactly. And Nyktos doesn't know the flavors of love because he's never felt it. So he's like, I don't know. What is that feeling? It tastes like this. It's good. This is also where they have the anxiety talk, which I liked as well, which talking it out makes sense why after the like quote quote cheating revelation, she goes down here, because this is where she had like a big emotional like moment here.
And what also that JLA does so good in this book, and that I really appreciate too, is that there is an anxiety talk, and there's, just acknowledgments throughout the whole book. And it's not just here's the talk, and look, it's gone. It's all taken care of. Everything's okay. It's constantly acknowledged, and it's also acknowledged that there is no reason. Sometimes people just go through, you can have an anxiety attack and there isn't necessarily a trigger for it. And I just love that even Nyktos acknowledges it, respects it, and then like is truly curious. Nektas too, and other people who are just like, well, why do you do that? Is there something that I can do? Or when she is having one, they're doing it with her. And I really appreciate that acknowledgement and how it's handled.
oh my God, I'm in love with Josh. But now I don't know how to act around him. That is Clueless. If you aren't aware, that is Clueless. My note says Clueless. How do I act around him? Sera has realized that she is in love with Nyktos. She doesn't know exactly what it is yet, as we have said. But it is after this sexy submission, very intimate hand dog pool scene that she realizes it. And now she's fucking weird around him. She doesn't know what to do, and it's really cute.
And he's like, what is wrong with you? Nothing.
Nothing.
Like,
everything's fine.
It's so... But, like, she has been in her bubble of life. Like, especially, like, and I say her romantic bubble. She's had partners because she would go to the Lux all the time, and she was experienced. Like Nyktos wasn't her first, but like that first, like, oh shit, like fuck, I was now. It's just relatable. I think a lot of people can go through it when it's that slow burn. Like, wait, now do I act different now that I recognize the feelings and it wasn't just an off the bat situation? It's cute.
It is so cute. It is adorable. It is adorable. So all of this to say that this is where Sera really decides, I'm going to be consort. She is talking to Nektas, and Nektas's eyes turn blue for a second. His eyes are usually red. They turn blue. They're saying that, like, oh, that's because, like, you're closer to the ascension than we thought, because, like, the embers are getting, like, stronger and everything. But it's also like, guys, come on. I'm saying guys specifically because it's like the men, these men that seem to, like, know everything. It's like, men, come on. Like,
well, it was also like, oh, like, back in ye old day, the Draken's eyes used to be blue because that was their tie to the primals. So, like, you're becoming more primal and closer to the ascension, blah, blah, blah. Because Sera and Nyktos have to go off to this shroud adventure to find out. They're looking to basically see this oracle pond of sorts to tell them where Delphi is, and it has to be Sera. Nyktos can't go with them. But to what you said, Laura, this is like that realization. She's having different conversations with Nektas to be like, he's like, oh, well, like, he's like, you don't call him Ash. And she's like, things are weird. And he's like, he is whatever you want him to be. And that's, you know, again, having the feelings conversations, and she's really realizing everything. And before she goes on this adventure with Nektas, and I say adventure, it's like a 24-hour trip. And she goes, hey, I want to be your consort. Like, in his head, he was probably like, yeah, I know. We've already talked about this. That's happening. And she's like, no, but, like, I want it now. I want it in every sense of the word. He's like, oh, okay. Just come back to me.
Finger guns. Cool.
That's how I was like, just cool.
Cool beans, right? Cool beans. Men, right? Men are the ones that are telling us about the poppies that are flourishing in the Shadowlands. We have the quote, life cannot be defeated in death. But the men are also the ones that tell us all about the sirens. And Sera has to deal with the siren call, like, the whole way to the pools of Divinash. You know, all of this stuff. Let me see here. Nektas and Sera, you're right. They're on the Diamond Road, and they're at the pools. Oh, yes. I want to confess that my favorite flower is lilacs. So the constant description of, like, stale lilacs is just like, gag, gross. I hate that. I hate that very much. Were you expecting this confession out of Sera?
No, I was expecting the love confession.
Yeah, me too. This one shocked me a little bit, I gotta say.
Yeah.
It was a surprise.
You know, but then after she said it, you were like, yeah, that makes sense. With everything that we've known about her internal dialogue up until this point, it absolutely makes sense.
Yeah, it really does. And it is through Sera spilling that secret to the pools of Divinash that we realize that Delphi is in Eidolon with Princess Kaylee at Caulfield Manor, which is the ancestral home of the Balfours. And on the way back, we have corrupted nymphs. And Sera uses essence to kill the nymphs. And everyone's like, you shouldn't be able to do that. Let's just not talk about it again. Never address it again. And say that, you know, embers are strong in you.
So, but then, like, okay, they come back. She defeats one nymph because they were like, oh, sometimes they do attack, sometimes they don't. And then it was like literally the last nymph. It's like, you know, you defeat Bowser on the last level kind of thing. She defeats the nymph. She's like, I can't wait to see my man. I'm going to tell him that I love him. And we're just going to be so happy. And so she goes to his office because her little embers are embering because they like rumble when she gets closer to him.
No, use the correct verb. The correct verb is wiggle.
I feel like I blocked that out. Clearly, I read my own book because that was not the word I associated with them. The embers wiggled as they got close, as she got closer to the office, and she's like, I'm going to go see my man. And she opens the door because she's always walked in before, like, hey, it's his office. Like, he has nothing to hide. Like, I love this. I love this for their relationship. No, but nothing's being hidden. Except this walks in on him, and Vessies is just like writhing on him, and he's just like draped on the settee, and she's like, and Vessies is like sucking blood from him, but she doesn't know it's a long dress, and he's already been putting out for her. So like, who's to say he's not doing it all over town? And she's just like stunned in silence, and then she like finally breathes or takes a gasp, and Vessies just looks over. It's like that moment in Fearless Book 2 where she's just like on top of what's his face, and she's like, oh, you're here. And that's exactly what happens. So Vessies, she's like, this is the person who's really important to you. Okay. And he's not even in a drugged out state, even though like physically you think he is, but he acknowledges it. And she's just, Sera goes off. She just leaves the room. She's a better person than I am.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Better, because I think I would have been stunned. And I have approached the situation. And then, of course, you, like, leave crying, like, angry tears, frustrated rage. And that's what happens. Every single emotion almost has the castle crumble with her anger. And then this motherfucker is trying to say, like, oh, calm down. Let me get the root off of you. Fuck no. The roots are the only things that are trying to protect her. And I know there's a bigger plot line in this book. I know there's more to the story. But reading that, I am raging with Sera. And I am not a better person.
Yeah, not at all. Because she goes down to the pool where they had this like enormous emotional experience. And she's like looking around. She's like, oh, he fucked me over there. And he fucked me over there. God damn him. And she's like feeling all of this and the hurt because she realizes she loves him, and like the roots are coming up. Yeah. And they're like, calm down. and then he's like, I'm so sorry. I have to do this. Like, whap, compulsion, knocks her out for 3 days. She goes into stasis.
That would have been the only way you could have like knocked me out, because don't even apologize. If you don't want me to burn the whole place down, you're going to have to knock me out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I love this confrontation that she has with Nyktos after this too. She's like, you know what? No, when this is all done and when these embers are fucking out of me, I'm gone. I want my freedom. I want to live. I want my freedom. And I realized that like this relationship never could have stayed physical. That's on me. I'm dumb. I realize that now. I want out of this. And Nyktos is like, are you fucking sure? Like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah. He's like, bet. All right.
Well, you know, I don't like that he, like, one, he should have fought harder. You know, I always believe in a man should fight harder, or like the wronged person should always fight harder. But two, it was very much like, I love where she's like, okay, I got my emotions out. Now I need to fucking lock it down, because then when she goes to approach the situation, she knocks on the door and he's like, you never knocked before. She's like, I learned my damn lesson. And then like every little thing is a fucking dig at him. And I'm just like, same. And then he's like, I don't like you like this. What are you feeling? And she's like, don't read my emotions. And he's like, but like, I'd rather have you have emotions than nothing at all. Oh, she has emotions. And you know that in the internal dialogue that she's saying to herself. She's like, but I gotta fucking lock it down. And if that is not the most us shit we've ever seen, like, be like, oh, well, I don't know why you can't read anything. Everything's fine. this is a me thing. This is a me thing. You do that. Shame on me for not being more specific. So we're just going to do it. I'm going to be super polite. And everybody, even not just him, but like everybody's like,
are you okay?
Are you okay? What? I'm just asking so nicely. And I just really respect the fuck out of Sera for just like, you know what? This is everything is business transactional right now.
Yes. And it has to be because they have been summoned now to Colas and they're in their like fighty breakup period. And it's very interesting. I love this summons to Colas.
How I was with Adis is going to be how, can you handle that? And she's like, I handled it when I first came here.
It is what it is.
Whatever.
There you go. I like the summons to Colas. Before we get the summons to Colas, though, we get more like plot dumping between Sera and Ios, right? We get that Ethos put the soul in the embers, and we get the stripping of Sera's identity. No, like, you are Sotoria. Like, you aren't you. Your soul is Sotoria. Of course, we know that's not the case, but like, you know, Ios is like not helping the situation here.
I like that it's clarified at the end of this book that she isn't Sotoria. She has Sotoria's soul, but it's very much like she is her own person. And then it's like how Tracy Deonn does with Bree.
Yeah.
And you find out like Bree is her own person and her soul is there as well as this other soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not going to spoil that one here.
Yeah, no, but it's good. Like, it's just nice that they're having this. And then it is from that initial conversation that we get the description of what Colas does to his favorites. Of course, this all comes full circle at the end, but Io says like he put us into cages. No one could touch us. We were in Delos. It's terrible. Colas is so charming that when he betrays you, you are surprised. And that's very much a very much Morgenstern situation. It's very much like this. And then Io says like the deal breaker. She's like, no, Sera. Like, you cannot be Colas's weakness. He cannot love. He is completely corrupted. He's fucked up. So like, I know that you were trying, but like, don't try anymore. You really cannot do it.
Fucking sociopath. He's evil.
Yeah, he's evil. He is evil as all fuck. So it is amusing that the palace is like beautiful and like lined with gold, like all of this stuff, but they have the courtyard of all of the veiled, moaning bodies nailed to fuck all everything. Okay, I think this is like another test, right? This is Colas, who knows, is seeing like, what is her reaction going to be, or is she going to use the embers? Like, what is her control like?
Yeah.
Here.
Well, and she didn't have any control because she was losing it. And even at this point, Nyktos is like, I didn't know it was going to be like this. I would have mentally prepared you. And she's like, you need to do something because I can't control it. So obviously he kisses her just like she kissed him in a previous situation. So now they're apparently all made up now. Like, no apology, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. And he keeps kissing her. Basically, they're just making out till she's distracted enough that she's not even thinking about trying to essentially revive all these people who are still alive, because she noted one person specifically. She was like, there is pain in his eyes. He's either like, let me live or let me die, because this in between of like a long this long death is torture.
Yes. And it is here now that Ates and Dices show up. They start like, hey, he's not ready for you. But no. Nyktos rips out Dices' heart, and we love it. We love to see it. But we expect him to be dead, obviously. But Sera's like, he's twitching. Doesn't say anything.
No, they pull her. She does like a double take and they pull her back. Like, men disregard what she was thinking. Well, and I say that, because they do know that he's capable. No, they don't. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud. Because they were shocked when Dices comes the first time.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Okay, so now we're in Core Palace, and it's basically Hanan being like, fuck you, where's Bella? What's going on?
Where the fuck have you been, Loka?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. We get the reveal of Kolis. Of course, Kolis knows everything this whole time. He denies the Drakai attack. That's in retaliation for Bella. He's enjoying Hanan, like talking himself into a corner and being like, what, you think I can't bring people back to life? What are you trying to say to me? Get the fuck out of here is basically the whole plot of that. And it is here where Sera has her very first out-of-body kind of experience where she is realizing that Sotoria's soul is reacting to Kolis. She kind of feels...
Sotoria's soul is the one, she's like, that's screaming.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't vocally yet, but because that doesn't happen till the end of the book. But is vocally, mentally, internally screaming that she sees Kolis.
Yeah. It's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And it is here where, Dices comes back. He's alive. He's a revenant. And it is here where, what's his name? Thad the Draken, the baby Drake, the youngling, the Draken youngling. Thad comes out and it's like a life for a life situation. Like, well, Bello came to, you gotta take another. Okay. So she does like stab the fuck out of him and she makes it painful and long so that she has time to bring him back to life. Again, another test by Ates and Kolis, who are in on all of this the whole time and are just monitoring her reaction. And Kolis says, like, I want you to do this. When you do this, I'll know everything I need to know. I'll know, because he's testing her, not great. But Sera says, like, she left a big chunk of her goodness, like, in that palace. Like, a lot of it was carved out of her.
Because she went ahead and killed the youngling. And she even said, like, oh, I had to have that. She had to have the out-of-body experience to, like, to play the part, to play the role, and she didn't feel good about it. So what does she do? She's like, okay, well, I got this badass power. We're bringing them back to life. But she even says, like, what was the point of all of that when she, the Kolis and the test, what she thinks is the point. And at which point Ash says, he's like, he wanted to make kin, the enemy. He wanted us to be the enemy to kin because, like, Drakens are his livelihood. You just killed. She's like, yeah, but, like, even then I was forced. I was coerced. And goes, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You killed his Draken.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Even though she brings him back to life and he has blue eyes for a little bit and Ates is like, holy fuck, brah. Again.
But Kenneth doesn't know that he's alive because he can't know that he's alive. So they were just like, we'll keep him here in our mountains.
Yep, we'll keep him safe. And Nyktos and Sera are like, all right, bet. Peace, and they leave. They're totally out. They're totally out. And here now is the Vessies attack. We're up to the Vessies attack. And Sera does have a moment where she cries, like tears of blood, where she finally has like a good cry over everything. And that was very cathartic for her.
Yeah.
And Reaver was there with her.
Reaver and her relationship, I love her. Like, Reaver is really protective because even before they went to see Kolis, like, Reaver is even going to bat for her against Nyktos. And she's like, it's okay. Like, he's not going to hurt me. And he goes, he wants you to know that he's, like, down for you. He's got your back the entire time.
Yeah. He does. Because Reaver, gets thrown across the fucking floor and almost dies by Vessies. And this is just, I don't even want to dwell on this. This is just a petty, gross, jealous.
It's a petty cat fight. Yeah.
And it's not great. And I hate how it ends, too, because Nyktos comes in and, like, electrocutes the fuck out of her and puts her into stasis for a while. And it's just like a man had to come and break up this cat fight because these girls are fighting over him. I just don't like it.
And I love, because Belly is originally the person who comes in, and you think, like, Belly's going to fuck some shit up because she's like, you can't do this, you can't do that, the other thing. There's a warrant out for your arrest, basically. And she's like, I guess there is. So, like, add another one to the list.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It irritates me. Again, Sera gets hurt. She needs like sexy blood time. This is the one where they're fucking and she sees like colors and finds peace, but he won't bite her and fuck her at the same time because he doesn't deserve her. That's this moment. And then my note says the wild tone shift. They go from like straight up, I don't deserve you fucking to like coronation dressing. And I was just like, what? Okay. Good to know. This is her coronation and her coronation gown. How do we feel about it?
Oh, I'm so glad that somebody finally put use of those diamonds. We've said it in the past, in the from Blood and Ash series. We were like, they're stepping on all these diamonds. Why aren't you picking it up? And here they found all the diamonds and they were like, we're going to embellish the fuck out of your dress with these.
Yeah, the fuck. The coronation is pretty standard. The thing that stands out to me is that Sera demands that Rain tell her exactly what Nyktos sacrificed for her. And this is where we get the background about Vessies. Like, Vessies found out, like, a few years ago about Sera, and, like, she was going to tell Kolis, but they bargained. She suspects the Embers, and she feeds on Nyktos to blackmail him to make sure, like, she doesn't tell Kolis. And it's a whole thing.
Well, which, again, it adds to the whole Kolis knew the whole time. So here he was basically, being Vessi's forcing herself onto him, and he's like, I have to do this to protect this, that, the other thing, for 3 years. And Sera's like, he knew the whole time. So now, like, it's another violation of somebody I care about.
Yeah, it is. It's another violation of somebody that I care about. And it's just really like, especially because Vessi's doesn't have to feed all that often, and she feeds all the time.
It's just a power move is all it is, because they even said like primals don't have to drink that much. And she would say like, why is your skin always cold? Always cold. Like, that bitch is up in there all the time. And even Belly's like, I was wondering why she's here. I'm wondering this. I'm wondering that. Nyktos says that, like, she's such an awful person. Nobody likes her. So, like, this isn't... I think that I didn't think it was a blackmail situation, but ultimately, like, I think it might have been, like, oh, maybe he's just trying to get, like, information out of her. Like, I thought it was trying to be, like, let her think I'm into her for some ulterior motive, but I guess I just didn't think blackmail was the ulterior motive.
Yeah, it is, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So the coronation, it's pretty standard. The crowns are very beautiful. Would love to see the fan art of the crowns. Fantastic. Chains of diamonds. Very cool. The title, Blood and Ash, Brightest Moon. And there's an imprint. Very fun. We love an imprint.
Yeah, my note just says for chapter 41, because this is, I said, chapter 39, Vessi's blackmailed Nyktos. This is like that background. Chapter 40, Sera realizes she once again really loves Nyktos. She's going to tell him. Chapter 41, let's get married, y'all.
Yeah, let's get married, y'all. And also, there is a sexy carriage ride. You can't have nothing.
Thank you, JLA, for another sexy carriage.
Can't have one of these books without a sexy carriage ride.
We need
sexy carriage ride. There's feeding, there's fucking, there's domestic bliss. We love it. We are all aboard.
And he's like, I want to talk about all the things that we actually have to talk about, but let me tell you about the sexiest things that are, he was like, there's 1, there's 2. Or he was like counting down. He's like, number 4, number 3, number 2, number 1.
Yep.
I want to see all of these things.
All these things. I want to see you naked on the throne. I want to see you, the crown.
The crown. I was like, Dorian, motherfucker.
All about it. All about it. But
I'm sorry, I'm cursing a lot. I'm just really excited when the good stuff is good in this book. We're telling you.
Domesticity cannot last, which is like this theme, I guess, that we're pointing out. Because the next day, I guess, they have to go to the manor. They have to go to see Delphi because we gotta get this plot going, right? So they go to Messina. They go to the manor. And Kaylee's there. Hello. Delphi's there. I've been waiting for you. And he says, like, the Balfour name has been honored. It will continue to be honored. You will know it when everything else is We get a lot of plot here. I was not expecting another use of a diamond. We have a big diamond star conduit. Very cool.
We also get the whole, there's like, basically how can we get the ember out? And Delphi's like, you know how to get the ember out. And they're like, oh, tell us more. And they're like, she can die, or you can do this. And she dies. And he's like, that's not what we came here for. And that's when Sera's like, you knew. And he's like, yeah, but I was hoping for a fourth reason. It basically all just results in her, like, she won't survive the ascension. They can like drain all her blood. They can take the ember out. She can just descend. And she'll still die. Like, it all just results in her death.
Yeah.
So, Ash, not liking this answer, kind of strangles him against a bookcase. And he's like, wow, I'm dying. Delphi's thinking he's dying. And Sera's like, oh, please don't. Like, it's really not his fault. And he's like, fine. So he lets the guy live. And he's like, you live to see another day. And he's like, what is happening? My life flashed before my eyes. I saw how I was going to die. It was through you. But now that's not happening. So here's this other oracle future that I can possibly see. Yay. And I just, in Moulin Rouge, where Sidler's like, just starts like, my eyes do not disguise, like, this other thing.
This other thing. Yes, exactly that.
That's what that felt like.
Exactly. Yes. Oh my gosh. It really does. It does. What does it say? It's like, you're a vessel. You just have to die. You have to die. Everybody knows this. No one told you, whatever. Again, we have another Silver Beast, Brightest Moon situation. We have a sad forest fucking scene. Because Nyktos cries tears of blood. I wish I never had my cardia removed. They're like making love in the forest. It's very sad, right?
Yeah, it it felt like our last goodbye kind of thing, because they were both I say in love, but he can't love, and that's why he's so upset, because if I were to love, it would be with you. Like, it's just it seems so final, and I know it's only book 2, but I'm like, no, Nyktos, you're gonna get your cardia back.
It's like, oh, you'll get it back. This
is why and this is the other thing, and this is the whole thing with JLA, is just like, where sometimes you just have more questions, where you can't help but think, wait, but like, they are in stasis, because that's where we're at in the second book of Flesh and Fire, when they're getting married, like they're blessing them, Cass and Poppy's wedding. So I'm like, something good has to happen out of this.
Well, nothing good happens from now to the end of the book. We're basically like in the backslide of this. They get back to the palace in the Shadowlands, but boop, Kin is there. There's an attack. Boop, 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 boop. Bad things are happening. Devin is there. Nyktos is like fighting. The courtyard is filled with all of the dead people from the palace. Like Ector's there, and his body just gets like ravaged. Ios is there. She brings Ios back to life. Ash is there. Orphans are there. The Cimmerians are there. And this is where Sera goes into full rage. This is her full like rage moment. She says she has like massive jaw pain. She like missed all of the Daikai, and she has like a really bad nosebleed after this. And she expels like all of this ether and like clears a big path or whatever. But that pulls all of the
more people in, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like good, but it's like not good, right? It's like kind of bad.
It's also where Attis finds her, and he's like, come with us and we will stop this, and I'm going to bring you to Kolis. So this is also where you know that Attis has been working against her the whole time as well.
The whole time. This is the reveal of his betrayal.
Was there ever a time where you didn't think he was sus?
I don't know. Honestly, I thought like, hey, Nyktos can have a friend. Why can't Nyktos have a friend?
Yeah. Like how Helion was kind of like, I'm going to play this. I'm going to let them think, but I'm really working for you.
Yeah. So like this betrayal, I thought he was there to like help. So, cause he was like, and Kin and this and this and this, the courtyard, all this, da, 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 da. No, I thought he was there to help. But he was like, no, This is the only way. You know, Kin's going to kill fucking everybody but Ash unless you leave with me. And she has to agree to leave because of the charm. And she does. She has a wolf dream. Very fun. You know, she sees Ash. Also very fun. We have now where Sera wakes up in a chain shackle around the neck. She's been out for 2 days and she is in a cage. This is the reveal of Callum. How did we feel about this?
I didn't see that coming. I didn't even realize they were the same person. She's like, wait, you knew my mom. And she didn't even make that connection when she first saw him, when his, before his fingers were twitching.
Did you think that Callum was fucking Sera's mom for years?
Yeah, I think we even talked about that. I can't remember. He's so insignificant. I don't think I even focused on him that much.
Yeah, I can't remember, but it makes sense when he starts talking. He's like, how do you think your mom knew? How do you think? How do blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but Callum is Dices, and she didn't recognize him then.
It's like, hey, it's all very. This is the reveal.
The villain monologue reveal.
The villain monologue reveal. Colas knew from the moment Lamont summoned the primal of life to make a deal to get Sera out of this deal. And yeah. Colas is like, keep talking. What?
Because he made the deal with the primal of life, who was Nyktos' dad. Mm-hmm. So when he came, well, not he, but like family. So then when Lamont, Sera's biological father, when she was born, he's like, I want her out of this deal. And he goes, I need to summon the primal of life. He doesn't realize that he's not talking to Ethos. He's talking to Colas.
And Colas is like, keep talking. Tell me all these details.
He had no idea. Okay. Yeah, Colas didn't know up until this.
Yeah. So he's like, okay. Interesting. Because he's like, okay, so good to know. So, because he's been looking for the Greca his Greca the whole time. He's searching for life. Really, he's searching for life.
Well, that's, oh no, sorry. I was confusing Lesa. Lesa means queen or life.
Right. So yeah. he's been searching for his Greca, to life, because he needs that to create the ultimate life, because he can't, because he's not the true primal of life. It's all of this stuff. He needs the Greca to create true life. That is what he believes. He does not know that Sotoria's soul was also put with the embers into the Morel bloodline, into Sera. He does not know that, and that ends up being the play at the end of the book.
Which I love, where he was like, wait, what? Like, I don't know. It took the end of this book for it to make sense to me, to be like, don't do that, because he wants the ember of life. So obviously he'd have to with Sera, but this is the first time that Sotoria has spoke out to speak to him, where he was like, wait, double-edged sword.
Yes, double-edged sword. All right. So now it is the prophecy. This fucking prophecy. It's so long. I mean, just damn. It was a dream, right? Prophecies are dreams from the last oracle in the Balfour bloodline.
A shadow in the ember, a light in the flame, to become a fire in the flesh, he recited. When the stars fall from the night, the great mountains crumble into the seas, and old bones raise their swords beside the gods. The false one will be stripped away from glory, until two born of the same misdeeds, born of the same great and primal power in the mortal realm. A first daughter, with blood full of fire, fated for the once promised king, and a second daughter, with blood full of ash and ice, the other half of the future king. Together, they will remake the realms as they usher in the end.
Woo.
And that's just part of it. There's 3 pages worth of this.
Yeah, and there's more. It's like the end will come from the west.
Yeah, but this it goes, everything comes in 3s. And this is the first, I knew everything came in 3s, but this is the first time where I was like, they often had a beginning, middle, end. And I go, and they're received in like an order, and they're typically related to each other. And I was like, oh my gosh. And this just made me think of like the things that happened this week specifically, where we're like, that's the third thing.
Yep, that's the third thing. They all comes in threes. We have another mention of the Silver Beast and the Brightest Moon, them becoming one. Colas, he's monologuing here. He tells us that he thinks one of the daughters was Mycella, and the other daughter he thinks is Sera.
He thinks really fucking high of himself. He's like, because Mycella was his brother's wife and Nyktos' mom. He's like, my brother didn't like me because Mycella was really in love with me, but I didn't like her like that. And Satoria is like, she was the real love of my life, and she was just totally into me. She just didn't know how to express it. This motherfucker, I have so many problems with Colas. Maybe it's because he reminds me of my dad too, but hey.
Oh, my God. Because again, the point, Sera, she's like, what the fuck do you want? Like, what is your end game here, my guy? What are you going for?
I love that she's not, like, even when she's scared, because she was like, I'm chattering, but he doesn't need to know. She's not letting him. She's saving face. I love her.
Yeah, she's like, why do you need more power? What the fuck, dude? And
he is funny, though. He goes, have you met these other guys? Like,
fuck these guys.
They're annoying. You've met them. You know. It is.
Yeah.
You know, he has like the one-liners in here. When they're good, they're good.
They're good. So he wants to be the primal of life and death, because he's like, well, my fucking brother, he put the embers in you because he wanted Nyktos to be the primal of life and death the whole time. And like, that can't be. So like, you know, he is going to, yeah, like, it's my destiny. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Because his destiny, because of the prophets, is like the untrue God. And she's like, that's you. And he's like, yeah, it's me, but I don't want it to be me. So
watch this. Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah, which goes again to like Holland in the beginning, like fate is fluid, y'all, all of this stuff. Again, Colas says like, hey, BT Dubs, like, I'm gonna fucking kill you and take these embers, by the way, just letting you know, like, this is happening now, by the way. And he strikes really fast, and he's like, thanks for taking care of the embers, by the way. Placeholder, bitch, is essentially what he's saying to her. And he bites the shit out of her. And as he's biting her, this is where we get Satoria's rage. And Satoria starts talking and like laughing through Sera's voice, right? She's like, it's me, Satoria. Here you are, killing me again.
And he's like, what? No, what are you saying? And then you could tell that Attis, he's like, my liege, it could be possible. Yeah. That is some shit your brother would pull.
He's like, hold up. Let her speak. And he's like, hey, you know, Keela was like, they're really good friends. You don't think that they would do this shit to like spite you? Because I totally think, which makes me again think like Ate is like, what is your game here? Are you a double agent? Like, what's happening?
Or is he just not either? He's just looking out for himself. Like whoever the victor is, he's going to play that side more. Like, oh, is Colas? I'd rather be in Colas's favor. Oh, is Nyktos in favor now? Because I'll do over there. I think he's just looking out for himself.
Who can say? We
don't know.
It is what it is. Whatever. We are now at the very last end of this book. End of the book. Sera, is looking out the open doors as these men are having this conversation above her, and she sees a wolf at the edge of the trees, and she thinks it's Ash.
A wolf more silver than white, a silver beast bathed in the brightest moonlight. Ash.
Da, da, da. And we're done. 700 pages, more or less. Talking out through it in this episode. Yo, it's fun.
Yes. I'm so glad we did this, because I was like, I don't remember shit.
Right? Talking it out, it is fun. Do not ask me anything about this as soon as we end this conversation. Do not, because I will give you the basic Sparks notes on it. Why? Yeah, why? And I don't understand, because like going through it, it's fun. I get it. I like it. I don't understand it 100%. That's fine. That's me. But like, it's fun. But tell me why, like right now, I could immediately pick up the third book. Immediately. I could immediately pick up the next book. When that next book comes out, I will be dragging my fucking feet to read it.
I know. And the third book currently, it is going to, the third book in the series is A Fire in the Flesh, and it's currently still slated to come out December 12th, 2023. Maybe this could be our vacation book for the holidays.
Maybe, and we can discuss it. Yeah.
Or if the listeners want, because we got into this book because like it was requested. So if y'all want us to discuss it more and for that third book, let us know, or come up to us at like a Polycon. When we release this episode, we're going to be at a Polycon the following week, a Polycon 2023. So yeah, does it mean that the conversations we're going to remember what we said?
No, it does not. Please try to jog our memory if you come up. Please.
Like, and it's not because we don't want to talk about it. We just don't remember it. You know that, that TikTok where they're like, oh, what's an impromptu conversation that you could present like an hour dissertation on? This book isn't it. I mean, We're doing it right now, but if you ask me to do it again next week, I don't know.
Yeah, this book isn't it. Not saying it's not good, not saying it's not fun, not saying it's not relevant, not saying that there isn't great stuff in it. All of that is true. It's just, I don't know. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Whatever.
Well,
feel free to follow us on Instagram. We're at ACOFAE Podcast. We're also both on TikTok, ACOFAE Laura and ACOFAE Jessica. And we look forward to hearing from you. Let us know. We'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Bye.